Greetings! I'm Chappers.
And I'm the captain.
And we're excited because...
we have a world exclusive for you.
World exclusive at Andertons.
At Andertons, yes. Another one today. Those lovely people at Line 6 have lent me a brand new beta version of a product that's going to hit the stores very, very soon. In fact, by the time this video goes up, it may well be in the stores. And it's called the new Pod HD. You guys have probably, if you've played guitar, you've probably been familiar with one of the little red kidney bean shaped pod devices that Line 6 have been making for, crikey, it must be 15 years or more now.
Yeah, it's a ubiquitous go-to studio tool.
And this is the very latest one. So this is called the Pod HD. It's black now, but it's still bean shaped, and it's fundamentally all the sort of latest technology and the evolution of how you sort of do modeling. So, first and foremost, I guess, before we kind of start an avalanche of sort of comments talking about, oh, you know, I'd rather have a tube amplifier and all that kind of stuff. This isn't really designed to say to you, you know, in your band, you know, sell your tube amplifier, or if you've got 15 tube amplifiers that you use in your studio to sell them all.
And in fact, Line 6 do provide a tube amp that you can use with your HD system.
They do.
To sort of back that up.
So this is a great value. I think it's going to retail for about £330. It's a great value device that you can use as a headphone practice tool. You can plug it into your computer as an interface. You could plug it into a guitar amplifier if you wanted to. And it contains dozens of different amp sounds and effects sounds. And it's just a fantastically fast way and great value way for you to just dial up different guitar sounds.
It's a great studio tool. In fact, I know loads of session guys who, for example, do the work for ads between Channel 4 and BBC 2, who use pods, track with it, and then keep all those sounds.
Yeah, and there are hundreds of albums now, you know, recorded using, you know, this type of technology, or, you know, the pod farm kind of technology with Pro Tools or whatever. So, you know, as I said, we don't want a list of hundreds of people saying I'd rather have a tube amplifier because, you know, in lots of applications, so would we. So let's just focus on kind of what this can do. You can see in the corner of the screen here somewhere there should be a close-up caption of the pod. It looks quite similar to previous pods. Basically, I hope you can see on the screen here, it's very, very simple. One of the things I really liked when we did the Pod HD 500 video a few months ago is just how simple this is to use. So you can see a nice, easy layout here of the different pedals that are working and whether or not you've got the amp modeler engaged. And I'll show you a little bit how to edit those later. Around the outside of the HD Pod HD here, we've got all the kind of knobs that you traditionally have on a guitar amplifier. You can see as well, as soon as I touch one of these knobs, there's a little screen in the middle jumps into showing you where they're all set. So you kind of ignore where they're set here, and as soon as you touch one, you can kind of see how the knobs are set for that.
Stays kind of hard programmed into the setting.
Yep.
So Son of Plexi will now always have that unless you change it back to something else. So it's like it's a real piece of gear.
We've got a new knob that hasn't appeared on previous HD models, which is called Tweak. Tweak is an effect sort of appropriate knob, so it won't work on certain patches, but where you've got certain types of effects rather than amp sounds, Tweak will just it will give you
the quick way into it.
Yeah, so say you've got a chorus sound or whatever, and you just want to change the amount of chorus in the mix, rather than having to go into the sort of deeper edit mode to change that parameter, the Tweak button would just do that for you. What else have we got? We've got the looper still built in here that we had on the HD 500. You can use the looper by pressing the buttons on the top here, but when I was messing around with this before, I think loopers are much easier to control from your feet. The good news is though, all the FPV Express and the FPV Shortboard boards that are available for this will enable you to trigger all the loop functionality from here, which is very cool. USB interface, so that gives you two things that you can do from there. One is, as soon as you connect it to your computer, the editing is much more graphical and much more intuitive, so big pictures of guitar amps and pedals that you can mess around with on screen. And it's also a USB 2 high quality audio interface as well. Yes. And that's actually what you're hearing today. So we're going from the left and right outputs straight into Stick's interface. So no coloration from an amplifier or anything, that's what you're hearing. We've got an SP-Diff digital output that we could use if we wanted to. We've got a microphone input, so a lot of the effects on here are perfectly usable for vocals if you want to use that.
We're just hearing this through a studio monitor, one of them, and that's it.
Yeah, that's what we're using to monitor it, but you're hearing it direct into the interface. Yeah. Before we get into showing you some of the presets, I have an important announcement from Line 6 here. By the time this comes out, and by the time you're watching this video, Line 6 will have actually released a free update for all Pod HD customers, so it doesn't matter which Pod HD model you've got. And in addition to all the cool sounds that are already in here, there's going to be 6 new HD amp models. So we've got a Fender Deluxe Reverb, we've got a Fender Twin Reverb, we've got a Fender Bassman, we've got a couple of stacks, we've got a Park stack and a JTM 45 Mark II stack, and we've also got some of the, we've got one of the high gain Line 6 sort of sounds like from the high gain.
6 new amplifiers in an update.
Yeah, and one of the new deep editing features, which is going to be cool, is you're going to be able to get in and actually edit the behavior of the output section of your tube amplifier. So you can adjust the sag, the hum, bias excursion, and the master volume as well. So the Pod HD that we have here doesn't have those new amp models on there, so maybe we'll come back in a month or two's time and redo the video when we have a new one of these. So this is essentially the same operating system that's in the current HD 500. So let's go through that. I'm going to probably just I'm just going to literally scroll through some of the presets. So these are all ones that are completely bog standard. I haven't fiddled around with these at all yet. And then I think what I'll do is I'll show you in a bit more detail how easy the screen is to edit, and then we're going to make a sound for chappers.
So we'll start with just a simple plexi type tone. I'm using a Fender Strat here. This is Lee's awesome Blue Man Fender Strat with Seymour Duncan humbuckers.
Actually, this was quite nice for chicken. We play that country. I'm going to find that one that was... Is this the one that's the organ? So pay attention on the close-up here, and I will show you essentially how you set up a chain of effects. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a blank patch first to do one for chappers. So let's go to the user settings. So you can see it says new tone, amp disabled, and there's no effects in here at all. You see that?
So at the moment it sounds like this.
Nothing at all. So it's very, very simple. If I want to introduce a new amplifier, I move my cursor above this little sort of black shadowed version of an amplifier and then engage an amp. And there are lots of different amps to choose from.
So we've got an amp now?
It's just a nice clean Fender amp. I can change the cabinet if I want to. Each of those has a slight different voicing, and I can change the microphone that's being used to pick it up. So again, different voicing. So what you'll find is, depending on the amplifier that you use, there'll tend to be a microphone that sort of gives it the right sort of tone that you want.